Welcome back to the channel. I don't know why my shoulder hurts so much, but it's Gaming News Weekly Live. Got my Evian water with me, so you know I'm ready to talk. This week it's been a journey, hasn't it? PlayStation, they teased some things, they showed some things, and they made a lot of people upset. Is This week in gaming has been a joke, bro. It's been mad crazy. And we're about to get into this, bro. Make sure that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. It's Gaming News Weekly. You know what this is about. And we just gotta jump right into this shit, bro. PlayStation 5 Pro. What the fuck was going on with that? It's been rumored for what, like a year, 2 years. They were like, oh, PS5 Pro is gonna be next big thing. That's fine, bro. We just wanted to see what it was. PlayStation finally showed it. And what they showed was not what anybody actually wants. There's speculation some people will buy it. I mean, it's gonna get bought by some, but somebody gonna buy, oh yeah, I got that PS5 Pro. But what did Sony actually produce when they produced the PS5 Pro? Because what it looks like is a stock boost. It's a percentage boost in motherfucking hardware sales. That's all they produced over there. Because how is it actually going to improve gaming? We don't fucking know. They just made some shit up and put it on a freaking trailer. It was 8-minute live stream of Mark Cerny sitting there talking about how he said 80% of gamers use performance mode. Really, nigga? Hey, what's up, Cool Breeze? Mark Cerny, nigga. The only reason performance modes are getting used is because motherfuckers think that they need that shit because, you know, the internet. Tell them like, oh shit, 60 frames are better than 30. Is it? When most TV and movies are still like 30 frames, it's so it's so wild how all media is like 24 frames, 30 frames per second, and then you get into game and 30 frames not good enough no more. Oh no, you need 60. Come on now, bro. Come on now, bro. It's been a problem. Did they change anything about the Pro? I mean, they changed the way it looked. They added 3 slashes. And it's crazy because you remember the design. The design leaked early. And they show like the 3 lines. And like, oh, it's going to be 3 LEDs going across the thing. Why them bitches don't got no LEDs in it? Those 3 black lines are just 3 black lines. Even the fucking design is trash. They put gills on a PlayStation, bro. First it had the fins, it was Seto Kaiba, and now it's just a random fish. Niggas put gills on them. Why the fuck the PS5 Pro got gills, bro? The design is garbage. The PlayStation 5's design has always been kind of trash. People talk about our fridge, you know, the fridge sitting right there, but nobody's getting a designer fucking PS5 anything, bro, because that motherfucker look like ass. Niggas want to hide that motherfucker in the case. Niggas had to go buy disc plates from somewhere else because they didn't want their PS5 to look like that. Sony went through a whole lawsuit with niggas because they wanted to change the design of their PS5 to not look like garbage. And here Sony goes again, putting gills on a PlayStation. The Wi-Fi router, yes, it's exactly the Wi-Fi router. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad. The internals, they talk about the big three. What the fuck? The GPU is not a feature. I think I said this when they showed the reveal. GPU is not a feature, bro. They said, oh, they got better hardware ray tracing because they increased the size of the GPU. So of course they're gonna have more ray tracing. Which those two features will go together. So they have one new feature. And it's PSSR. You say he's not saying anything about the specs until Sony give more detail about them. And the fact that they didn't give more detail about them is a part of the problem, Cool Breeze, bro. Because people out here speculating, like, oh, it's gonna be this strong, it's gonna be that strong. Bro, Digital Foundry was looking at their reveal, and every time they say something about the PS5 Pro, niggas get upset. Because they're like, Hogwarts Legacy was in that trailer running at 30 frames per second. Why did y'all show Hogwarts Legacy run at 30 frames per second when you said the PS5 Pro is a 60 frames per second machine? You said it's not a problem for you, just wait. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have to wait, but that motherfucker come out in 2 months. It's not like it's coming out next year. No, that motherfucker come out in 2 months, bro. Pre-orders go out next week. And we don't know a damn thing about this console. Nothing. But you want people to buy it? And you want people to buy the stand? And you want people to buy the disc drive? PlayStation, bro, you really walked out here, threw some trash on the ground, and told your fans to eat up. This is good eats right here. That is outrageous, bro. That is crazy work. They didn't change the CPU. CPU is exactly the same as the PS5. So any CPU bottlenecks, the PS5 Pro will still have them. That's not going to change. The GPU is bigger, so I mean, you can scale up and down, bro. You can turn more ray tracing on. And then PSSR. How many developers are actually going to be using it? We don't know. You say you like getting bullied out your money? I mean, it's one of those things. He might want to buy it. I don't think it's gonna be a terrible machine, but it's definitely not worth the asking price. Like if it came in at 600, if they strip the disc drive out, they don't give niggas a fucking stand to stand it up on. And it came in at 600, maybe that'll be a price people can actually look at and be like, okay, all you did was increase the GPU a little bit. A little bit. They showed, what game did they show? They showed Alan Wake 2. That motherfucker was running at 900p. Alan Wake 2 in that trailer for PlayStation 5 Pro was running at 900p. 60 frames per second. Really, Sony, bro? So these games are still going to look like shit running at 60 frames on the PS5 Pro. That's why they didn't say like, oh, our game's going to be 4K. They're not. That's why Mark Cerny didn't say that shit. So everything they want you to think about the PS5 Pro is all speculation. Because when a console actually come out and it runs like shit, yeah, Alan Wake 2, 900p. Come on now, bro. Come on now, bro. Why didn't they show Final Fantasy 15? That motherfucker was 720p 60 on the PS5. What is it running on the PS5 Pro? They should have showed that. God of War wasn't there. Why was God of War not on your stage, Sony? It does like the whole reveal of the PS5 Pro was just so poorly put together. There's like CNET articles of them saying other stuff, but still, all the actual details that anybody that wants to know about the tech, they haven't said a single word, bro. They haven't said a single word. It's like they want people to just act like it's better than it actually is. Get the fans behind it before they let this console come out and actually be garbage. They just want to make the money first. It's slightly better hardware, so it's not like it's not. But how much better for $200 more? It's crazy. You're paying for more storage. That's exactly what you're doing. Because you got to go buy you another disc drive, which scalpers are snatching them hoes. We got to get into that. You got to buy the stand. Didn't the original PS5 come with a stand and a screw that you can put on and take off? You can lay that motherfucker on his side. Sony really just hold the fuck out of their fans with this reveal. And people are going to buy it. That's the crazy part about it. There's going to be millions of people that be like, oh, I'm going to just go trade in my PS5 for a PS5 Pro. And they're going to be sadly disappointed when they get the product that they trade in for. And it's not what Sony advertised once again. Niggas talk about, oh, it can do 8K because Gran Turismo got a demo mode? What? Gran Turismo got an 8K demo mode? Niggas don't even got 8K TVs, bro. They ain't got an 8K monitor. They ain't even never seen an 8K TV. But niggas running with the narrative that the PS5 could do 8K gaming. Oh my goodness. That shit gonna be running at 12 frames per second. And niggas gonna be saying, look, it's 8K. 12 frames, nigga? You can't even play this shit. You gonna look at it. It's a slideshow. So I really don't know why the PS5 Pro comes now. When the PS5 only got like what, 3 more years left? Maybe, maybe 4 if they really want to push it. But the life cycle of the PlayStation 5 is already almost over. Already almost over. And the Pro is coming out a year after the Slim comes out. All like 6 months after the PSVR came out. Like, how much hardware is Sony gonna push to get their stock to go up? Because that's all I see when I'm sitting here looking at what PlayStation is doing and looking at what Xbox is doing. Sony is trying to increase their shareholders' value so much that they're just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Microsoft is cleaning up business over there. We got to get into what Microsoft is doing right now. But PlayStation is just throwing shit at the wall at this point, bro. They got 2 CEOs of the gaming industry. You only need 1 leader. Why the fuck you got 2 of them? You let Herman Host run the whole company. It's crazy. You see a gaming tech video on the PS5 and PC. I think I really like it. Who is gaming tech? I don't know. Let me look it up. How are people making videos about the PS5 when they don't have one? Oh shit, my bad. Is it just called gaming tech? A PS5 Pro is cheaper than a PC with a 4070. Why do you say the PS5 Pro is 1400? I mean, we could watch this video actually. Oh, let me put this motherfucker on. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on. I'm in the wrong space. My bad. Let me put this video over the top. Let's see what the boys got to say. Australian version. Bro, the PS5 is like $1,000 in some regions. That shit's crazy, bro. That shit's outrageous. Sony is really just plugging this shit. And this nigga's a PlayStation fan. Of course he's going to be like, hey, you know, this is actually a better deal than you think. But yeah, we're going to get into this. Hold on. Let me headset up. Get this motherfucker transitioned. Now let's see what Buddy got to say.
Fans, and welcome back to my channel. So after a couple of days have passed, after the PlayStation 5, after the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement, I think it's time to talk about in a normal kind way about what we have learned and what we can actually expect from the PlayStation 5 Pro. Because back then, and I include myself, all the conversation about the presentation was actually very, very heated, and I can understand
the presentation was horrible.
Not happy about the presentation. I mean, I will never be happy about the presentation because I think Sony did actually not a very good job with this presentation. They could do it better, much better in my opinion. But after we learned what the price target will be for the PlayStation 5 Pro, all the comments on videos X or wherever was very, very heated because the price range now, of course, is much, much higher than before. And I can understand that people are not happy about that. But considering all the facts, what I know now, and trying to actually build a PC for the same money what the PlayStation 5 Pro will cost in Australia, I can tell you the PlayStation 5 Pro price, at least here in Australia, is still high, but understandable.
See, before he gets into price comparisons of PC parts and things like that, you gotta realize the PlayStation isn't built in Australia. So what they're selling it for in Australia is not built there. So of course it's gonna seem more expensive because you're in Australia and they're making you pay more for it. But the PS5 is getting built with PlayStation 5 parts they already got. Those parts aren't new. The SSDs aren't new. They're reusing a whole lot of assets. They added 2 things to this thing. They added a bigger GPU, which is just their same GPU, just not cut as small no more. They're using a full size of it that they should have used in the beginning. And they added PSSR. which is machine learning into the game. I mean, into the console itself. Does it equate for $200 more? And ripped out the disc drive that was $100 added to the base PS5? That is crazy work. But let's see his price comparison.
Okay, my friends, so let's start talking about the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro here in Australia. $1,200, 1,200 Australian dollars. So right now, the normal standard PlayStation 5 with disk drive is $800. So you can see there's a price increasement of around $500, not of around, it's exactly $500, okay?
Nigga, they added $500 more to a PS5 in Australia. It's crazy work. It's only $200 American. So when we look at it in American prices versus them, they get a $400 increase. Is outrageous.
More for the PlayStation 5 Pro without the disk drive. The disk drive is $160 here in Australia, and it's actually completely sold out everywhere right now. So that means we have to pay if we like to play our physical copies in the future with the PlayStation 5 Pro. We have to pay 1,360 Australian dollars. That's.
And another thing about the disk drive, you know, the disk drive is the part of this that I think annoys me the most about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Because Xbox has to go find people to build them a disk drive. Remember that. PlayStation creates this disk drive. They own Blu-ray. They create the disk drive, bro. So the fact that they're not making their consoles with a disk drive no more says a whole lot. Because it costs Microsoft way more money to go find people to make them a disk drive than it does for PlayStation to make their own fucking disk drives. Because they control the disk drive market. But now they're ripping out disk drives and selling them separately. Sony, you created this disk drive, bro. Why are you not selling it with the console? How much more money does it cost Sony to create their own disk drive? Definitely not $150.
A lot of money. That's absolutely ridiculous for a console. I don't know how much was the PlayStation 2, 3 or 4 here in Australia back then when it was released. I don't know. But this is just looking at the pure number. $1,300, well, let's say $1,400 because maybe you like the stand as well. That's actually a lot of money just looking at the pure numbers. If we're now comparing this, of course, with a comparable PC for the same performance, then it's a complete different story. So that means we have now a price target of around $1,400 to build our PC, to build a PC with the same performance as the PlayStation 5 Pro. So let's see if this actually works out. Okay, so let's take a closer look on the PC parts, what I choose to have a very similar or a slightly better performance compared to the PlayStation 5 Pro. Okay.
He actually overspent on that motherboard.
Okay, first of all, we need a CPU, and I choose the AMD 5700 for $250. So I know that the very similar CPU for the PlayStation 5 is a 3700, but this shop doesn't own or have this CPU anymore. But on Amazon, it's also around $250. So there's no difference actually. The only difference is the 5700 is actually slightly faster compared to the 3700. So that's a little bit of an advantage over the PlayStation 5 Pro. And then, of course, we need a case, and in this case, I actually choose the absolute cheapest one, which looks still okay, So don't get me wrong, you can spend much more money, but I think $69 is not too bad for a ATX tower, So moving on, of course, we need a motherboard, and here I was actually not choosing the absolute cheapest one, because I like to have Wi-Fi on board, and I don't like to have any mini ITX motherboard version.
Why would you want Wi-Fi on a PC, bro? Like when I seen that motherboard price, I knew he overspent on the motherboard. And he just said, like, yeah, I mean, I kind of like Wi-Fi on, why the fuck would you want Wi-Fi on the motherboard, bro? I mean, I have Wi-Fi in my PC. It's not like I don't, but I don't use that shit. Because you want to be hardwired in on PC. Why would you even want the lag? of Wi-Fi. You got the best Wi-Fi in the world. I got really good fucking internet, and I'm not using no fucking Wi-Fi, bro. There's no way I'm doing it on PC. When niggas are tapped in to the fuck, they're tapped into NASA's internet. I'm not about to go against them with no fucking Wi-Fi, nigga.
or whatever. So ATX format is the absolute minimum, plus of course Wi-Fi and a proper brand. And Gigabyte B550, which I have actually in one of my PCs, is a very good motherboard, and I can't just recommend this one. Moving on, we need RAM, and I decided to go with the Team T-Force Delta RGB. Not because I like RGB, I couldn't care less about that, but it was the absolute cheapest RAM what I could find. And I don't think actually the RAM is as fast as the PlayStation 5 Pro version, but that's just speculating. And before we now talking about the GPU, let's talk about the power supply, what we need. And I choose an AeroCool AeroBronze 80 plus 850 watt power supply. So
That is an outrageous power supply, but I mean, it's really good.
Because it's just a very cheap one in my opinion. I would go for Be Quiet or a different brand, because the power supply is actually one of the most important components in your PC. And I have seen many PCs are failing or having issues because someone choose to have a very cheap power supply. But again,
I mean, that is true. That is
trying
true.
to build a PC with the cheapest components actually. And I'm not saying that this power supply will fail or is not good enough to power up a 4070, but it is also not the best, let's say it like this. And no, we are still not talking about the GPU, because we need a CPU cooler actually. And what I learned from own experience, don't save money on that, okay? So the minimum what you should get is actually a Be Quiet Pure Rock for the 5700. I would actually even recommend Noctua, because I'm a big Noctua fan. They're having excellent CPU coolers, or if you like to go with a water cooling. But this is one of the cheapest recommendations I can make, actually $69 for the CPU cooler. And then last but not least, of course, we need a SSD, and not just any SSD. We need actually a 2 terabyte SSD, because yes, the PlayStation 5 Pro offers 2 terabyte storage, and we can't just buy a very cheap one. We need to buy one with a reading or writing speed around 7,000 megabytes per second. And I came up with the Crucial T500 for $250. And now let's talk about the GPU, and I choose a NVIDIA 4070 because according to a couple of channels like Digital Foundry and others, the PlayStation 5 Pro GPU performance is similar or comparable with a 4070, which is
That's definitely a lie. 4070. Really, nigga? Come on now. Come on now. When these games, when they show their reveal, and all those games are running like shit. They're all running like shit. Digital Foundry's own record saying that they're all running like shit. They're on the PS5 Pro running like shit. And you're saying it's comparable to a 4070. Okay, buddy. Okay.
It's really not bad. I mean, let's think about that. We have a 4070 now here in Australia in a $1,200 PlayStation. That's actually good, because just look at the price. That's the cheapest 4070 I was able to find. $860. I personally,
Australia money is crazy.
not because I have bad experience. I just don't know the brand. I'm going with Gigabyte sometimes or Asus. Okay, that's my favorite brand. And maybe
I do fuck with Asus. That's what I got on my PC right now.
I never had any problems with them, okay? So let's anyway, that's the cheapest one what you can get. $860 just for the GPU. And when we're now looking at the total, we have almost $2,000. And when we considering now we need to get Windows, and maybe you're a first time PC buyer, you don't have a mouse and keyboard. So let's say for a very affordable mouse and keyboard combination, let's say another $50. And yes, we're not talking about high-end stuff then, but let's say $2,000 to get a PC here in Australia, which is comparable with the PlayStation 5 Pro for $1,350. I would say there's a clear winner here. And yes, of course, I know a lot of people will argue, hey, you can do much more with the PC, and I fully
I
understand
mean, yeah, that is facts.
But today we're just looking at the pure price, and we have actually roughly $650 more to spend for a PC for the same performance. So that's a lot. But I get your point. I get your point. So usually the PC games are cheaper. You have more variety. Oh, that's a hard word for me. Variety to choose from, because you have Game Pass, you have Steam, you have Epic, you have all the games, including PlayStation 5 games at some point, you know. So PlayStation 5 or the games are coming to the PC at some point, you know, sooner or later. So you will be able to play them as well. So no point actually right now to buy a PlayStation 5. But on the other hand, I like the plug and play functionality on the PlayStations or
When people mention plug and play nowadays, I know they're on some bullshit. Because not a single console that's came out since the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One has been plug and play. Not a single one of them. And now that console doesn't come with a disc drive. So plug and play is dead. Plug and play is dead. You can't say, oh, consoles are plug and play. No console is plug and play no more. That was 360 PlayStation 3 era shit. That's done. Now you have to set these bitches up with an internet connection. If you don't, you're not using it. And if you need an internet connection, guess what else you need? You need PlayStation Network. You need Xbox Live, whatever it's called now. I guess it's Game Pass Core now. Xbox Live Gold back then. Consoles aren't plug and play no more. You can't use that as a W for consoles, because that's gone. PCs are more plug and play than consoles are at this point. All you need is a flash drive with some games on it, and you can play those games on your PC right when you turn that motherfucker on. Right when you turn it on. Ain't like you gotta download them bitches. All you gotta do is plug the fucking flash drive in, and it's gonna play those games.
consoles in general. And I still think, yeah, it's plug and play. It's not as it used to be 10 years ago, because 10 years ago we haven't had probably any mode to choose from, you know. There was just, you put the disc in and then you start playing. That's it.
And now that's gone.
Yeah? There was just option was load save. That's it. Nowadays you have fidelity, performance, stuff like that. Okay, you get my.
They don't account to plug and play though.
Plug and play.
It's not.
I get it, of course. With the PC, with mods, with reshade, whatever, you can special K. You can make so much more. Yes, absolutely understandable. But the question is always, is it worth to pay more money for that? Because this is or answer I can't answer. That's absolutely up to you. If you like to do stuff like that, like modding, like using reshade, like whatever you want to do with your PC beside gaming, then of course there's no way you should get a PlayStation 5. But for pure gaming, to enjoy games in a very high quality, AAA first.
You should go to PC then, because you're not getting it from a PS5.
Pro is a pretty good offer.
It's not. It's not. And see, I kind of understand what he was going for there. What? I understand what he was going for there. It's not like the PS5 Pro is complete garbage. But they're setting the standards high for the PS5 Pro that PS5 Pro is not going to meet. Because he's speculating, because a lot of people said it, that he probably trusts and believe that the PS5 Pro is going to be as powerful as a 4070 computer. When the CPU is already a problem for the PS5. There's already games on the PS5 that can't go to 60 frames because the CPU is bad. And guess who shares that CPU? The PS5 Pro. So, I mean, that, like, if you're going to build a PC, he overspends on a couple of things because he likes those things. That's fine. So he could definitely build a PC for cheaper. But, like, using PC pricing to justify the PlayStation the PlayStation 5 Pro's pricing is definitely not the way to go about it. Because the console is not going to be worth the same price as a PC. Even if you got a cheaper PC, a PC with less performance than the PS5 Pro, you're going to have a better time with the less expensive PC than a PS5 Pro. That's just a fact. And I'm a console gamer, and I don't see that. The PlayStation is going into a realm where it shouldn't be. Where it shouldn't be. You're selling parts. You selling shells. They're selling motherfucking disc drives. They're selling stands. And the console itself $70. I mean $700. Outrageous. Outrageous. What's the performance really? We don't know. Hogwarts Legacy was still running at 30 frames. They showed PlayStation 4 games running good. Like, yes, we know PS4 games are going to run good. There's like Xbox showing Xbox One games running perfect on the Xbox Series X. They did that. They did that. They're 4K 60, running amazing. Untouched. No upscaling. Raw power. We've seen it already. Xboxes did it. So what is actually going on with the PS5 Pro? That we don't know. We still have to wait until it comes out to actually see if the speculation is going to be real or not. Because they speculated that the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 was going to be 3070 level. Remember, they said that. They're like, oh shit, these motherfuckers are going to be 30 series level. No, they're not. They're barely 20 series level. And I got a 20 series card sitting right over there. And that motherfucker knock a PS5 Pro out the fucking water, bro. I can just put that motherfucker at 1080p, run that motherfucker at 120 frames per second. I can do that with a 2070 Super over there right now. I can slap it into this PC build, and it's gonna do work. On new games, on old games. So the 4070 is, that motherfucker's cooking up. It's definitely cooking up. Optimization is another thing that's going to be a problem when it comes to PS5 Pro versus PS5. Because developers already hate what Xbox did with the Xbox Series S and X. They already hate it. They're like, oh, we gotta make so many sacrifices because the Series S is so much weaker than the. Now they gotta do the same thing on the PlayStation side. And you think developers are just gonna accept that shit? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna work hard. We're gonna make two versions, the PS5 Pro version, the PlayStation 5 version, and everything's gonna be good. Xbox thought the same thing until developers got lazy as fuck and didn't want to work. And now PlayStation is gonna set themselves up for the same type of disrespect from developers. The PS5 Pro version of these games are not gonna be running that good because it's just a PS5 version running a little bit better. That is exactly what PS5 Pro owners are gonna get, and they spent all this fucking money to do it. It's gonna be kind of wild. It is gonna be kind of wild, but we definitely have to see when the console comes out if it's actually gonna be worth the money for it. Is it actually gonna be worth that? Because $700 for this console. All your games have to be digital. So if you have a big physical library, if you bought the PS5 at launch for $550 and you got a disc drive and you I like owning my games, because those people were rioting when Xbox made the Series S and I have a disc drive. And now the PS5 Pro comes. No disc drive. Do you really want to buy one? If you really enjoy physical media, do you really want to buy a PS5 Pro? And I'm on the hand that I like digital media. It's so convenient for me to just download something real quick and play it. I use Game Pass hellas. I'm not like a physical media advocate. I have my physical media over there. I got plenty of physical games over there. I got physical games from the 360 era over there. So I still use those discs when I want to play those games. It's not like I don't. But when PlayStation, the nigga that creates the disc drive, removes it, that says a whole lot more than Xbox removing their disc drive. That says a whole lot more. Because now PlayStation don't want you to use physical media. And they're the ones that control the Blu-ray. They control the Blu-ray, but for some reason they don't want you to use physical media no more. They're like, physical media, we don't need that no more. So what happens with the PS6? Does the PlayStation 6 come out at 800, still no disc drive? What is the future of PlayStation consoles looking like at this point? If the PS5 Pro is coming out, legit stripped of everything. Except bigger GPU. Remember, the GPU is bigger, but that's it? That is exactly it. And that doesn't spell well. Not for me anyway. Like as a gamer, I chose the Xbox based off what the console could do, not off what the games it can play. And the console was doing exactly what I wanted it to do. It's doing everything I wanted it to do. It's doing a little bit more sometimes. But it's doing what I wanted it to do. The PlayStation, on the other hand, people bought it because the games that PlayStation had, not because of what the console is capable of. That's why the games are running at 720p. They playing Final Fantasy 15 at 720p. They didn't care what the game looked like. They just cared the Xbox didn't have it. That's exactly what the narrative was now. So what is it switching to? What is it actually switching to? But yeah, we gotta get on with this. We gotta get to the worst part of this whole thing. The reveal for the PS5 Pro caused the scalpers to come out of hiding, bro. We thought the scalping was done. People weren't just buying up random shit to resell it when time comes. But now the disc drive for the PS5 is being bought out everywhere, being sold out. They're restocking it as fast as they can. But scalpers are buying it all up, which is great for PlayStation. They love making money. It's not like they're not. But the gamers are getting cooked. They're getting shafted once again. Because now if you bought a PS5 Slim and you want to buy a disc drive, it's gone. A scalper is going to sell it back to you for, what, double the price? You're going to have to pay $200 for a fucking disc drive now? Because the scalpers are sending bots to buy it all out? Who knows what is going to go on? Then the PS5 is going to be pre-orders available next week. Pre-orders are going live next week. And is the scalpers going to take all the PS5s, bro? All the PS5 Pros are getting snatched by scalpers. What actual fans are going to be able to get a PS5 Pro for $700? Because scalpers, what they did with the PS5 at launch, they're going to do to the PS5 Pro. If the demand is really that high from the fans, scalpers are going to take advantage of it. And Sony did nothing to combat it the first time around. So what are they going to do this time around? Are they going to let the scalpers take all the consoles again because they only want to increase their hardware sales value to the shareholders? Is that what it is? They're going to let the scalpers eat it all up. The fans, they don't really fuck with it anyway. It doesn't matter to them because as long as they get the money from the sales, they don't care about anything else. Sony doesn't care about anything else. They don't care if people actually playing their games. They get scared that they can tell their shareholders, we sold 10 million PS5 Pros. Look at our percentages go up. When hardware drops, they just sell it. That's all that matters. They don't care if motherfuckers are using it. Look at the PSVR. What happened to that? Sony released this PSVR. People bought it. They don't even support that motherfucker no more. When was the last time they showed a PSVR game coming out? When was the last big PSVR game that they showed? That motherfucker is dead. They even gave it partial support on PC. That motherfucker's still dead. So Sony is just releasing hardware just to boost their stock. Just to give shareholders something to think they're clinging on to. Just to give them some numbers to look at and be like, okay, we see digits go up. So that must be good for us. We'll buy in. That's exactly what Sony's on right now. And it's so sad to see, like, they're really just pandering to shareholders at this point. Because they're not listening to the gamers. They're not listening to their fans, not their actual fans. Because whoever they talk to and told them, like, yeah, bro, this Pro console is definitely what we need, with no games to show for it, is outrageous. It's outrageous from the PlayStation side of things. I think they're number one in gaming. PlayStation is number one in gaming, bro. And this is what they're doing. With the top spot. They're just selling you more useless hardware with no games to play. It's fucking crazy, bro. It's actually outrageous that this is where PlayStation stands. But in other news, PlayStation's first banger this year is Astrobot. Technically, was a big ass deal. What did it score? We went over this last Gaming News Weekly. What the hell did Astrobot score again? Why is my computer so small? What is this? That motherfucker got like a 90 something, didn't it? You said you wouldn't say they have nothing to play? I mean, if you're a PlayStation fan and you're a PlayStation gamer and you're playing PlayStation games, what have you not played already? That they're gonna have for you to buy a PS5 Pro. Because every game they showed was a PS4 game or a game that came out last year. Which any PlayStation fans probably already played those. So what game are they looking forward to playing on a PlayStation 5 Pro? It's 94. I just had to look that shit up. It got a 94. You said there's people just getting into PlayStation? And you think they're gonna buy a PS5 Pro to get into PlayStation? That has to be some of the this like the people that get into Xbox, they buy a Series S. They don't buy a Series X, they bought a Series S. Because that's how you get into Xbox. And now you can buy Amazon Fire Stick. You can just boot it up on your Samsung TV if you have one. There's so many cheap ways to get into Xbox. Who the hell is picking the most expensive way to get into PlayStation? If you're not on PlayStation right now, and you're like, okay, I want to go buy a PlayStation to play some PlayStation games, who the hell is buying the $700 console with no disc drive? Stand sold separately. I don't see any person in their right mind choosing it. They're gonna go buy the cheapest PlayStation they could possibly find. Somebody selling theirs because they want to upgrade to a PS5. They're probably just gonna buy a PlayStation 5 original if those are still on sale. The Slim, they got refurbished ones that are valued at like what, 400? There's easier ways to get into PlayStation. They're not buying a PS5 Pro. No, the only people really targeted to buy a PS5 Pro is the ones that got a PS5 at launch. Because PlayStation kind of want those out of the way. Because all the shit that they put into that console that didn't work out, the liquid metal fucking leaking out, all those things, them motherfuckers overheating and shit. The original PS5 design, they kind of want to get rid of that. They kind of really want to get rid of it. So they could get you to get rid of yours, sell it back to them, because they are offering money for your PS5 to upgrade you to a PS5 Pro. It's on their website. You can sell it back to Sony. They really want to get those units out of the world's hands. And they want to give you the smaller, sleeker ones. Because they're easier to functionally design. They have complete control over those. But yeah, like people getting in, I don't think they're buying a $700 console to get into PlayStation. PlayStation is not worth $700 to get into. Like Xbox is worth $200 to get into. It might be even worth $50 to get into if you want to Amazon Fire Stick that motherfucker. Because cloud gaming is actually pretty good. You said if you was in a market for a PlayStation, you wouldn't be a PlayStation vanilla, like a PS5 vanilla? What do you mean? Like if you was in a market for a PlayStation, what does that mean? Like in all actuality, what does that actually mean? Like if you were looking to buy a gaming console, you wouldn't want a base PS5. Why not? Because what are you upgrading from? Because if you're still on PS4 saying like, okay, I'm in a market for a PS5, why would you not want a PS5 vanilla? Why are you like, okay, I'm going straight to the PS5 Pro for 700 when you didn't even buy the vanilla one? Yeah, but like, what mindset are you coming with? Because most niggas that don't have a PS5 already still got a PS4. That means they didn't even want to spend 500 for a PS5. Why the hell would they spend 700 for one? If you're an Xbox nigga, most Xbox niggas are just going to PC. So what person, like, what mindset, Cool Breeze, are you coming with that you're like, okay, I'm in the market for a PS5. I'm gonna go with the highest version. What does that person actually look like? Where are they coming from as a gamer? That's what I want to know. Where are they actually coming from as a gamer? Because they're not coming from PS4. Definitely not a PS4 nigga coming to PS5. Like, okay, I'm buying a Pro. They're not fucking doing it. They wouldn't still be on PS4 if they were willing to shell out 700. They're definitely not coming from the PC place because PlayStation games are coming to PC. They would just wait. You say you skipped the Series X and went straight to an S? I mean, I did too. But you know where I came from? I didn't come from a base Xbox One. I came from an Xbox One X. So when I had an Xbox One X, I didn't have a base Xbox One. I didn't have a base Xbox One S. So the S people went to the S. The X people, which was me, I had an Xbox One X. I went to the Series X. That was the console equivalent to what I started with. It was a console equivalent of what I started with. So it's no point of me going to the lower end version of Xbox when I'm at the higher end of Xbox. So if you're at the higher end of PlayStation, of course you go to the higher end of PlayStation. So you didn't have an Xbox One X. What did you have then? You had a base Xbox One? Yeah, and that seems like the right way to go about it, Knight. That seems like that's a logical way to go about it. Because if you had a One S, you go to a Series S real quick because you just wanna play your Xbox games. Because you already have the lower end version of it. You don't really care about the higher end version of it until you get in there and you're like, okay, I want the best version of this now. Because you're playing it, you're enjoying it. Then you go and you get the higher end version of it. So you went from a 1S to a 1X. That makes sense. And then if you want even more performance, you just go build you a good PC and then maintain that hoe. But to think anybody, that's like thinking somebody coming from a 360 to an Xbox One X. Nobody's doing that, bro. Nobody in their right mind is doing it unless like you was really just lacking on gaming and you come back like, okay, I want to get into gaming and I'm gonna just go find the best thing I possibly can. So you had a how long did you have the regular Xbox One? Did you have it like from 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 2013 to 2020 until the Xbox One X came out? You're like, okay, bro, I'm gonna just stick it out with my VCR. Cause I mean, if you're just chilling, playing games, saving money, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get a better console next generation, that makes sense too. That makes sense too. But the PS4 niggas are not just about to go spend 700 because they would have already jumped already, or they would have already bought a PS4 Pro. So anybody with a base PS4 right now is not about to go buy a PS5 Pro. The PR around it don't even make anybody willing to really buy a PS5 Pro unless like they had something. You say you plan on getting a proper gaming PC? Were you thinking of Star Forge rebuild? I mean pre-build? You don't know jack about hardware? You want to future-proof your gaming soon? You said you was gaming onto the Series X. I mean, yeah, I was playing on my One X until the Series X came out. I legit got videos of me playing on my One X. My Series X came in the mail, and I swapped them bitches out instantly because that was the right thing. Like I had a 2070 Super in my PC. I had a 1080. No, what the fuck was it called? Yeah, I think I had a 1080 Ti in my PC. My first PC, I gave it to that nigga 12, and I got a 2070 Super in my next PC, and then I had that for a while, and then I got a 4070 Super in my PC because it's kind of like the range of gaming that I sit in. I wasn't gonna go to a fucking 4090 because that's not me. I don't need that much in gaming. And that's like what I think about when I'm thinking hardware. Like nobody's making that jump for that price for no reason. It doesn't make logical sense. You say you bounce back between your Series X and your Legion Go. I don't have a mobile PC setup. You say you might say fucking get an eGPU instead. I mean, you should definitely get a PC. You like when you come to PC gaming, you don't need an amazing PC. You don't need an amazing PC. You can come in at the lower side. But it like the lower side of PC is actually kind of expensive. So they try to push you towards like a 4060 cuz like you can get a 4060 for like $300. Like 4060 is a pretty good card and is pretty inexpensive because that's like the low end of like Nvidia right now. You can get a 4060 for a pretty good price. And that motherfucker is gonna get you real good in gaming. It's not too far fetched, but a lot of people just see bigger numbers, bigger prices. Like, okay, I need the. That's why when we just watched that video, like I saw the prices that he had. I'm like, he definitely overpaid on a couple of those parts, and then he come talk about why he overpaid because he like this brand over that brand. He doesn't want to go too cheap because he don't want to be faulty. Understandable. But when you know you overpaid, you can't come online and be like, oh shit, the PC is going to be this expensive because it's not. You could definitely get cheaper parts and get the same performance out of it. It's just, it comes down to branding, it comes down to compatibility and all those things. Because he could have went Intel with that CPU and got a better one for cheaper. Why did he go AMD? Because he wanted to stay equivalent to PlayStation. So the 3080 is so expensive because of how much VRAM it has compared to the other cards. So what Nvidia has been doing is the same thing kind of Xbox did with the Series S. Like they built hardware capable of doing things, but they cut the VRAM down so you have less memory space to have all the things running at the same time. So is VRAM all the time. So when you see a card and you see it's less expensive, it might have 8 gigs of VRAM, it might have 12 gigs of VRAM. And if you find a card with 16, it's going to be more expensive. And then as the numbers get bigger, the amount of cores that it have, the amount of resources that it have to just push raw power with the amount of VRAM that it has makes it cost more. That's why a 4090 is like $1,000. Because it's just the ultimate card at the time. So it has all the VRAM you need, it has all the power that you need, and it has all the capabilities that NVIDIA wants to show off, from ray tracing to path tracing, all of those things. And then as the cards get down, they cut down more and more of it, and then VRAM gets snatched the most. But that's why I don't PC game 100% of the time. I probably PC game maybe 30%, Xbox Series X game the other 70, because PC gaming gets kind of crazy. Because there's some good things about PC, and then like there's some games where like settings are garbage. So you're like, okay, why the hell can I manipulate all of these things? You might get a game and you can't window that hoe, and now you forced to play this motherfucker at full screen. And I hate when developers do that shit. Why the fuck can I not window this goddamn game? Why is that not an option? You said some people get these powerful consoles, but it's not hooked up to the proper TV to show the system potential. Yeah, because a lot of these people, like there's people online that talk about 8K gaming. How many of these niggas got an 8K TV? How many of these niggas got a fucking HDMI cable that can produce 8K images? None of them. But they hear big numbers, they hear spectacular buzzwords, and they think that shit's good. You can't even use 8K, bro. You don't even know what 8K looks like. Nobody really does. But for some reason, people think like, oh shit, this motherfucker's 8K. Like you'll see niggas upload a video on YouTube in 1080p, but they thumbnail will have 4K on it. Think about that shit. Niggas on YouTube right now will have a thumbnail that says 4K, 60 frames, and they upload that motherfucker at 1080p. And I'm like, do you not know what the like, nigga? You're not producing this motherfucker at 4K because you know how hard it is to record in 4K. I have a couple 4K videos on my channel, and the reason I stopped doing it is because like 4K videos, 30 minutes is like 100 gigs. It's like 100 gigs, and then try to edit that. Try to see how long it takes to edit a 4K video, how long it takes to render a 4K video, upload a 4K video. That's why niggas don't really make 4K videos like that. Everybody thought that was the next wave. Like, oh, niggas not gonna be doing 720p no more. They're doing 1080p. Now they're going to 1440p. Niggas don't even want to do 1440p no more because of how much space it takes. The resource management is crazy. That's why niggas still making 1080p videos. Yeah, and see, but that's like the right thing to do because 4K TVs are actually pretty cheap now. You can go find a really good 4K TV for like $200. It costs less than the Series X does to buy a new TV. So like those things aren't out of the like they're not out of the way because 4K has became more adopted when the One X came out, when the PlayStation 4 Pro came out. But the whole 60 frames push, developers can't even get 30 frames stable in most of these games. And you're trying to put 60 frames on the console. It can't take that shit. And more GPU space is not going to get you more frames. It is going to make games look better technically because you can just turn the fucking shadow quality from low to medium. That is exactly what Sony just did. Like, oh, we can give you more GPU space so you can turn fucking foliage from medium to high now on a game. And they think there's a fucking improvement. No. It's not that much of a fucking improvement. That's why when they show Ratchet and Clank and they showed that fucking parade scene and it was like, look how much clearer this is. It didn't look more clear, bro. First, because it was on YouTube and it was a live stream. It was gonna look like shit no matter what. And for two, nobody with the naked eye is gonna see the fucking difference, Sony. You could just talk the shit, but you're not gonna be able to show us anything. And then they didn't drop no demos of the PS5 Pro actually performing. They didn't have no frame rate counters. They didn't have no pixel counters. Like a dedicated 1080p display looks better than 4K almost every time, especially like Ultra 4K. Like Ultra 1080p looks better than 4K anything. You said there's a bigger jump from a Series X to the Series X than compared to the PS5 to PS5 Pro. Yeah, because that's true. Because the PS5 Pro is exactly the PS5 with more GPU space. That's all it is. So they're going to be almost exactly the same in every way. So it's literally going to be switching a setting from medium to high, and that's exactly what Sony is giving people. Or they can cut that motherfucker down to low and try to give you more frames. But if your CPU is exactly the same, and you don't have more leadway in there, you're not going to be rendering these games any faster. And I know Mark Cerny knows this. Why do you think the PS5 is performing kind of poorly in a lot of new games? Black Myth Wukong, that motherfucker ran like garbage. Space Marine 2, that motherfucker ran like garbage. And you think the PS5 Pro GPU upgrade is going to save it? No. Because those are CPU based games. They have a lot of shit running all at one time. That's not GPU bound. So what do you do about the CPU based games? Yeah, bro, I've been saying this for a while, Night. Because a lot of people blame the Xbox for Xbox's problems. Because developers complain. Like, no, y'all need to do y'all fucking job. Because when Larian was complaining about the Series S and split screen, go look at Diablo 4 running on the Series S. In split screen, as an MMO, full hordes of battling enemies. Hella fucking teammates on screen. The Series S can do a whole fucking lot. Like you just said, Metro Exodus. Got 60 frames on it at 1440p. With ray tracing enabled. Think about this, bro. It's so many developers that's got so much out the Series S. So when I heard developers complain, I'm like, id Software got Doom Eternal running on a Switch, my nigga. And perfect frame pacing. It ain't dropping a fucking inch. And you expect me to think your fucking Unity game can't run on a Series S? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Developers don't want to work hard. Digital Foundry came out and said it. I made a video on that shit. Like, developers ignore the fuck out of everything Xbox did with next generation tech. Mesh shaders, velocity architecture, all of that. They ignored all of it and just used the CPU and GPU power. And that's why the games don't run that well. Or don't run as well as they should. Because all the features that Xbox got, developers don't want to use them. So when a developer complained about the Series S, I'm like, did you try to use any of the features of the Xbox? They probably fucking didn't. But you know what they cry about every time? VRAM constraints. Like, oh, you only got 10 gigs of VRAM on a Series S. Why do your game need fucking 12 to run properly? When most GPUs out here and PCs only have 8. Some of them come with 12. High-end one come with 12. More of them come with 16, but you got to pay a lot to get 16. So what is developers actually doing? They're not optimizing their fucking games. They're not optimizing these games no more. Not for hardware anyway. And they're using upscaling technology. That's why PlayStation made their own PSSR. They using upscaling technology to save them. I mean, all the features that they're not locked away. They're widely available. They're in every Xbox SDK. It's just when developers use engines, they use Unreal, they use Unity. You said granted it's still 30 FPS in quality mode. And yeah, because they keep making these games bigger, more detailed. They try to update freaking AI systems. All the things running on the CPU in the back end is going to hinder the game running at 60 FPS. That's why when you saw people complain about Starfield running at 30 and launch, of course it's going to run at 30 on an Xbox. Why the fuck would they force that motherfucker to run at 60? And now it runs at 60, and guess what? Nobody cares. Because the game plays the same at 30 or 60 frames. Turn motion blur off, and you don't even notice the frame difference. Well, I don't play games with motion blur. Because that shit is nonsense. Yeah, frame generation is another one of those things, just like VRS and VRR, like all those like software scalers to help with frame generation made 30 frames so much better than people think it is. Like 30 frames is a lot more smooth than people give it credit for because they think 60 frames is better. It's because they ignore it. They ignore it on purpose, bro. That's why when I told people I beat fucking Elden Ring at 30 frames, they look at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because 60 frames per second is so broken in Elden Ring, I played that motherfucker at 30 frames. And I beat that motherfucker at 30 frames. I played it at like 120 on stream on my PC when I modded it. It's a lovely fucking game. It feels great to play. But when I played it on Xbox, those frame drops in boss battles, I didn't want them bitches. Because they ruined the fucking gaming experience. Yeah, it's running at 60 frames, but when that frame drop and you get killed and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I turn that bitch to 30 frames every time. Beat the fuck out of a boss. I beat the game butt naked with a hammer at 30 frames per second. You can't tell me shit. Niggas can tell me shit. Niggas watch me play Elden Ring. I beat that shit butt naked with a hammer at 30 frames per second. That's all I did. Didn't need anything else. 60 frames did not change anything about Elden Ring. I beat Starfield at 30 frames per second. It's 60 now. I go and play it. It's fine. It doesn't feel like a different game. It doesn't feel like a better game. Because I mean, if you have, it depends on who's doing the frame generation. Because like the Nvidia one, it does. I think it does a lot of things different. Because I think it like duplicates frames. So then it adds the same frame 2 times. So then it looks like it's producing 60 frames, but it's only 30 because it's just duplicating one frame at a time and kind of blending them together. I forget what the AMD version of it does. And then like TVs, like Samsung has their own. I think Insignia has their own. And there's another TV out there. I think Sony's TV has a different one. So yeah, it depends on like which one it has. You say on PC, use frame gen. Bro, when Starfield was running on my PC, I was so annoyed, bro. Because I had this motherfucker like Ultra. Yeah, this is before FSR 3 was introduced into Starfield. So I was running this motherfucker at like raw power. And I swear my PC was getting fucking cooked. It was getting cooked. You said Legion Go got AMD. AMD is making a whole lot of shit now. Where the fuck is Nvidia doing? I mean, Nvidia got to the top of the top, so now I think they really just don't fuck with anything else but themselves. But I respect Nvidia a lot because they kind of skewed the market in their favor, and now AMD has to like follow their lead. That's exactly what they did to the PC space. Because AMD used to not try to do that shit. You said for the most time it's super smooth. Cause frames are hit a bit rough. Other than the engine optimized as fuck. Bro, when they showed the scene of Tears of the Kingdom, when this nigga Zelda jumps from a sky place and he just falls to to Hyrule on a Switch, I'm like, not a single developer of a AAA game can say a goddamn thing about the Series S. Because did you see what the fuck he just did? He loaded the whole Hyrule up on a Switch, nigga. On a Switch. There's no goddamn way these developers should be complaining as much. Because the Switch is doing this shit with like fucking 20-year-old tech. Imagine if that shit was running on the Series S. People see the tech speaks for itself until people that don't know tech start speaking. And that's when things become a problem, bro. But the amount of things like Xenoblade Chronicles on the Switch, fucking Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch, Doom on the Switch, Mario does some crazy shit on the fucking Switch, bro. And people complain about the Series S, it just makes me laugh every time. Because the Switch's developers know exactly what the fuck they're doing. Because they optimize the fuck out of their games. So when developers come out and be like, oh, we can't do this, you're lying, bro. You just don't want to work hard. Because if Atlas can do that shit, they had Shin Megami Tensei 5 on the Switch for how many years, bro? You said with lossless frame gen feels amazing. Yeah. And it's so crazy. So like the amount of technology to help 30 frames feel smooth. Like niggas didn't really play Redfall. But if you go watch, like me and 12 got live streams playing Redfall. I don't know if they still up. They on his channel. They not on mine. But nigga, Redfall was at 30 frames per second, and that shit felt so fucking good to play. You would be surprised how good Redfall feels to play at 30 frames per second. It's so fast. It's crazy. We do need to keep going, actually. Like Redfall feels so good to play, and it's actually really fucking fun. But they shit on the game at launch. Why? Because it was 30 frames. It was on Xbox, and developers didn't like the tutorial map because the tutorial map was too motherfucking long, bro. Because niggas didn't even beat the Hollow Man, and they made reviews about the game like, oh, the game's empty. There's not much to do. You're on the tutorial map for like 12 hours. Of course, there's not shit to do. It's a tutorial. It's teaching you how to play the game, and then you go to the real world where all the enemies are, where all the factions are, and the world gets fucking crazy. The world gets crazy in Redfall, but niggas didn't even find it because they spent 12 hours on the tutorial map trying to figure out how to kill the Hollow Man. Redfall was so good, bro, that the fact that it got slandered so hard, it was disappointing. It was so disappointing. They add so many new elements to the vampires, too. They add so many new elements to what the vampires can do, what their minions are doing, the faction wars between the two. You could just walk up and there's a whole turf war going on. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? Do you get involved? Do you just leave? But no, they didn't want to. They didn't really want to play Redfall. Not for real. They wanted to play Concord. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to play Concord. They wanted to play Concord, and guess what they got? Concord. They got Concord for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, they got Concord, and then that motherfucker was gone because that shit wasn't right. But Redfall should definitely deserve better. But it did launch. It did launch looking kind of rough. Not gonna lie, it launched looking kind of rough, but they cleaned that shit up pretty quick. The 30 frames narrative definitely pushed that motherfucker over the edge. You said the Underworld and Zelda? Yeah, nigga, yeah, because they had the Sky World where so much shit goes on in Tears of the Kingdom. They had Hyrule, which is the normal state of the world, and then they had the Underworld where it's dark as fuck and it's the same size as Hyrule, bro. And I'm like, they did all this on the Switch. You said they should have delayed it another year at least, but the current state is best. It's been in. See, the thing is, I think they, I think Bethesda launched Redfall too early because remember, Phil came out and said they really didn't have a hand on Bethesda until after they fired all of them. That's when they took over Bethesda. That's when P. Hines left. That's when they really went in there and took over. They really wanted to get Starfield out, yeah. But like they let Bethesda do their own thing the whole time. So when Redfall launched for Xbox, Xbox had nothing to do with Redfall. Just like they had really nothing to do with Starfield. They just kind of owned those games at the time. So when Redfall got all the bad PR, Xbox was like, wait, the game was supposed to be good. And then they saw the game and they're like, oh, well, we kind of need to go put our foot in somebody's ass over there at Bethesda. And then P. Hines retired. A lot of people left. And then Microsoft started firing motherfuckers. Like, yeah, everybody get out of here, bro. Because y'all should have definitely told us y'all needed more time and more help. And the game wouldn't have launched like that. They kept it a secret. Why did Arcane keep it a secret? They really thought they could handle it. You said you're looking forward to the 2 additional characters? Yeah, and then they have to scrap the whole thing, bro. They refunded people that pre-ordered the more heroes. And yeah, Redfall kind of went out kind of sad. It went out kind of sad, but they did improve a whole lot, and it made the game so fun. Yeah, they even added like animations to takedowns and all of those things because they didn't have those before. Where like you couldn't just stealth kill a random like enemy that you walk behind, or like the vampires, the weaker ones. But now you can. They added a whole lot to those. The customization of the guns were so fire too, and it made you really think like, do you really want to have a gun with no stake on it? Because there's a couple battles where like we were just flipping through weapons and we didn't have a stake. So when we're shooting at these vampires, some of them would get wounded and you need to stake their heart, and we didn't have a stake, bro. So how do you kill them? It was getting kind of wild, bro. So we always keep either a stake gun or a UV ray. You have to keep one of them bitches on you. Or you gotta keep at least a rifle or a shotgun with a stake on it to get those kills. Because if you don't, you're gonna be in a battle for a long time. Redfall was so good in so many ways. It just PR got the best of it. That yeah, that shit's good, and they made such a good game. That's why I hope Blade gets all the love and attention it deserves. I hope they give Blade all the love and attention it deserves because Redfall was a definite good vampire game. It wasn't a bad vampire game, even though the critics shit on it as Xbox, shit on Xbox. It's fine, but the fact that they didn't even get to they didn't even get to finish their own game is kind of crazy. I mean, it depends. I go to work. You said when the hell is Bloodlines 2 supposed to come out, bruh? I've been asking the same thing. So the creators of Bloodlines 2, the ones that are working on Bloodlines 2 right now, they made what's that game called? It came to Game Pass. The horror game about the ocean where you're on the oil rig. They made that game. The Chinese Room. They made that game, and I made like a couple videos on it. I think I forget what the hell it's called though. Yeah, it still runs deep. They made that game, so that's kind of like what the studio is kind of what is capable of. Still wakes the deep. Yeah, that's what it's called. Still wakes the deep. So like I have more faith in the studio now that they dropped that game, and it was actually really fucking good. It was polished. The voice acting was great. So what they're doing with Bloodlines 2, we really haven't seen much since they showed like the main character and like all the outfits, all the play styles that they showed. But I have faith that they are going to do good by the game. It's probably not going to be as good as Bloodlines 1, but I'm expecting it to at least be a fun playable experience. It's definitely been too many games. Bruh, I was talking about what was it? Space Marine 2 yesterday on Saturday Morning Live. And somebody gifted me Space Marine. Look, and I thought they was giving me Space Marine 2. No, they gave me Space Marine 1. They gave me Space Marine 1. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And why did they gift me Space Marine 1? And I'm like, I mean, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna definitely play Space Marine 1. It's not like I'm not gonna play it. But why did they gift me Space Marine 1, bro? And I'm like, it was so funny when I seen it. I was like, this is Space Marine 1. I didn't even know you could still buy the game. Nigga, how did you get this? It's a fucking relic. But yeah, Space Marine 1. That shit's kind of funny. I'm gonna play it. I want to see how it starts. And then I'm definitely gonna play Space Marine 2. I don't know what the fuck happened to Silk Song though, bro. I really don't know what happened to Silk Song. And why is my PC looking weird as hell right now? Everything seemed like miniature. I don't know why it's doing such thing, but it's definitely acting weird as hell. Yeah, what actually happened to Silk Song though? Cause that motherfucker just disappeared. I know they got like new management, like they had to switch companies, like production companies. But then we don't really know what happened to it after that. Cause Hollow Knight is like the next big thing, and people would hope it's gonna be at like Tokyo Game Showcase or something, but we really don't know. You said Wilder Myth, Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 is co-op after the first mission. You can run through Space Marine 2 co-op, yeah. Space Marine 1 I think is a single player game. You said Wilder Myth. Hold on, let me look that up. 2021 Hero Fantasy game. Oh, it's hand drawn. It's set to release. Oh, it's coming to consoles next month. That's a horrible time, bro. You know how many games I gotta play? It's a tactical RPG though. Oh, shit, I need to tell Flog about this. I want to see the game. How it was running. Because this motherfucker look kind of good. Because yeah, me and Flog was talking about tactical RPGs on the Xbox the other day. Because he said he's about to start playing War Tales. Because he don't feel like playing Fire Emblem again. And I'm like, I completely understand. But this would come to PC. I mean, it comes to Xbox in October. But yeah, don't look bad. It's definitely gonna be a tactical RPG. It's one of those things that's kind of needed because nobody really makes tactical RPGs, especially like fantasy ones. Because like the shooting ones are fine and all, like the tactic games, but they're not as fun to play as like a fantasy one is. You said you get attached to your characters and you take them through campaigns as they age. That's kind of like what is the Grail game called? You say it gets sad when I have to die or retire from old age. They need to not put that in games. I mean, that is a good feature to have in a game that it has like life progression, but at least have a family line going. I played. Was it Massive Chalice? Is that what the name of the game is called? Yeah, it's Massive Chalice. If you play Massive Chalice, it's one of those type of games. It's actually hella fun. And like yeah, like you age and progress over time, they could die, and you gotta like keep progressively getting better. You said they carry over their wounds and scars too. If they can have children, they grow up, next generation of fighters. See, that shit sound hella fucking good. Why does it have to come to console in October? Because that's gonna throw a wrench in my plans. Because not only see, look, I think I set my schedule yesterday, but my gaming lineup is kind of booked from Starfield DLC in like a week. Well, Starfield DLC comes out in like 2 weeks, doesn't it? Like a week or two, a week and a half. So it goes Starfield DLC, and then I either gotta play Diablo's DLC or Metaphor from Atlas, and then I have to play those games until Dragon Age comes out. Yeah, then Veilguard drops. Yes, I have to play Dragon Age. Then I'm gonna play Dragon Age until probably what's this called comes out. Uh, what is it called? Stalker 2 comes out. So I'm gonna be playing Dragon Age until Stalker 2 comes out. I'm gonna be playing Stalker 2 until probably what's this called? Indiana Jones comes out. Nigga, that's already 3 months of gaming locked down. Yeah, that's 3 months of gaming already locked down, bro. 3 months of gaming already booked. Because that's all content that I have to choose from that I know I can play. And then there's so much content dropping in between those, like Call of Duty's coming out, Assassin's Creed's coming out. That game is coming to Xbox. There's so much content to be played, to be made, and I don't have time for it all. You said Redfall. We gonna have to find some time because I get off work at like 5 o'clock. So after 5 o'clock on like a normal day, we can definitely find some time and schedule that shit. But yeah, with the deal Starfield's DLC, I'm definitely jumping into that. Vessel of Hatred, I can probably pass on Vessel of Hatred for a little bit if I want to play Metaphor. I'm probably not gonna finish Metaphor before Dragon Age comes out though. I'm probably not gonna finish it, or if I do, I'm probably gonna play it horribly. Call of Duty drops on October 20th, I think. Is it October 20th? Hold on, let me just boot up the Xbox and see. You said probably around 7 or 8. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Where am I? On my Xbox. Call of Duty. When do you come out, Call of Duty? October 25th. So this mug come out 5 days before Velgar. Well, 6 days before Velgar comes out. And I'm like, bruh, there's so much to play. That's why I'm kind of happy Avowed moved out of this fucking year. I know people wanted to play Avowed. Avowed probably gonna be a big ass deal, a great game. But Avowed needs some time for me to play it. It was my most hyped game this year until Dragon Age announced they were coming out this year. Not even gonna lie to you. Vision of Mana, I do want to play that because I played the demo. That shit was so fun. The studio got announced to get shut down, which is crazy work. I have to add that game into the list. I gotta add that game into the list. There's so much shit to play. I still gotta get to Space Marine 2 because I really want to play that goddamn game. I really want to play Space Marine 2. You said February is an exciting time for Atomic Heart fans. What is Atomic Heart doing? That shit was good. You said just like you be for the beta for COD. Wait, Atomic Heart got DLC? Hold on. Wait, did I see this? Trapped in Limbo. I thought the DLC came out already. You said there's more after that. You said play the vid. What vid? What vid are you talking about? Cause yeah, I thought the DLC came out already. So wait, what's the new DLC called? You said check Discord? Think I'm not on Discord. I ain't been on Discord in a while. I do need to check Discord actually because Tejas is supposed to we supposed to live stream later. I don't know when because he said I haven't said anything. But he came to Saturday morning live and he's like, bro, we need the link. And I'm like, I know, bro. I've been busy. Is a freaking Instagram reel? What is this? This nigga. All those videos of niggas getting kidnapped in Black Ops 6 is crazy work, bro. I don't know why Activision thought that was a good idea. And the fact that they let you talk to each other when you kidnap them. You said there's no name for it, but it's definitely official, no rumor. Cause yeah, I thought the DLC came out already. If they got another one, it's probably gonna bang. It's probably gonna bang. You said that's how you do people? See, I didn't even play it. I probably should have, but I was playing Delta Force. At the time Black Ops 6 was going on, I was playing Delta Force. I probably should have made content playing Delta Force because they literally told me you could have been live streaming and making content the whole time. I thought we were under NDA. We couldn't say a single fucking word. But the whole time Delta Force was like, yeah, you could have been live streaming and making content. It would have been good. I'm like, that's fucked. I was playing that shit in secret, getting my ass beat on. Because Delta Force is actually a really good fucking game. That shit is gonna be real good when it comes out. I wish I had controller support, so I wasn't getting my ass smoked for like half the time I was playing it. But once I got good with keyboard and mouse, I mean, I was cooking up. I was having good games. Rebellion announces Remnant 2 get more DLC. What the fuck? Why is Remnant 2 still getting DLC? I thought that shit was cooked. You said it wasn't even shooting anybody. Yeah, I'd be seeing those like videos, like random reels, TikTok reels, freaking YouTube reels. People just just jumping behind, grabbing motherfuckers, taking them to a basement. They take them to like the shower. I'm like, why the hell did they put this in the game, bro? Black Ops, they really about to sell this gimmick and it's working. They're about to make so much money kidnapping niggas, and they're about to sell skins. You know the skins about to get more niggas kidnapped than ever before. The skins about to get niggas kidnapped like never before. Niggas gonna buy those anime skins. They're gonna buy like all the random skins, like the collab skins, and niggas about to be getting kidnapped. Watch, they gonna put like a fucking like a big ass super villain skin in the game, and niggas gonna use that to kidnap everybody, bro. There's like Fortnite adding kidnapping. Like, why are you letting niggas get taken hostage? Oh shit, we do need to talk about Astrobot. Diddy skin incoming. Oh shit, bro. If they put a fucking P Diddy skin in the game, and watch it don't even be P Diddy. Watch it be a nigga that kind of look like P Diddy, and it just be his skin in the game. The Diddler skin. It's gonna make a noise every time you grab somebody and take him. Take him as a human shield. That shit's so dumb. But Astrobot, Astrobot was a big ass deal last week. Everybody was like, "Oh, Astrobot is one of the highest rated games." Why that motherfucker sell like garbage? Nobody actually bought Astrobot, and I'm like, people talk this game so highly. It was one of the people saying it's game of the year, and nobody bought Astrobot. They showed the Japanese sales. It didn't even. It barely made the list. It was at the bottom of the list of like new incoming sales in Japan. The UK was the same way. That motherfucker had garbage sales. It was barely beating Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in sales, like in sales metrics. And Ratchet and Clank didn't sell well either. That's why that motherfucker went to PC so fast. So the fact that Astrobot was supposed to be the big thing for Sony, the big W this year, and nobody bought it from the PlayStation side of the world is crazy work. How the hell did they release this game to so much critical acclaim and nobody bought that hell? Literally nobody bought that bitch. So what did it get a 94 for? Why did all the critics love this game if the fans don't even play it? That's why user scores, I believe those over any critic score at any time. Because the fact that that shit fumbled, that shit failed, is crazy work. It's crazy work because I know Asobi put a lot of work into that game. That shit looked hella good. Would I have played it? Probably not, because I don't play platformers. But a lot of niggas talked about like they do play platformers and they did not buy that fucking game. So what does that say about the 60 million consoles sold over there at PlayStation? Because them niggas are definitely not buying no PlayStation games. I think it does look fun. I think it's gonna end up being one of those stray situations where like people rather watch people play the game than actually play the fucking game. That might just be the case. Cause it like they're like, okay, the game looks fun. I know they paid a whole lot of influencers to play it. I think they played Afro to play it because I think he uploaded a video, like one video playing Astrobot, and it was a sponsored PlayStation video. I think I seen a sponsored stream from who the fuck was it playing Astrobot? It was a PlayStation sponsored stream. So PlayStation definitely was paying niggas out of pocket. Play Astrobot. Play Astrobot. But no fans actually bought Astrobot to play it. But it might look fun to watch niggas play. So it might just end up in the stray category. Like niggas just might watch you play it. It might be streamers big as fuck playing Stray with 100,000 niggas watching. But niggas not going to buy Stray. They're just gonna watch you play Stray. You said now there's controversy surrounding Astro and Mario? Yeah, because there were some critics that said like, oh, Sony finally reached like Mario level of platformers with Astrobot. And I'm like, you can't say that when Astrobot has one game. Mario has been carrying the 3D platforming genre for fucking millennia, since I was born. So the fact that they think now Asobi is Mario level with Astrobot is crazy. And anybody that loves Mario is gonna look at this like, come on now, bro. You can't disrespect Mario like that. You cannot disrespect that nigga Mario like that. He's done so much. Astrobot has got one good game. Just one. And a good demo. That lets you blow on your controller. That lets you feel the sand. I think. I don't fucking know. I don't play PlayStation. But that's what it looked like when you see the YouTube videos. Jeff Keighley blowing on controllers and shit. Like, those are the memes that come out of it. Astrobot and Asobi, I mean, they did good work. They created a good game. It ran well. It was cartoony. They put a whole lot of people in the game that should have franchises on PlayStation right now. Even Crash was in the game, which was, I'm like, how do I get a Crash cameo when Microsoft owns Crash? Like, that's crazy. Microsoft owns Crash. Why the hell is Crash cameo in Astrobot? Are they throwing dollars to Microsoft to get Crash IP to show up in a PlayStation game? They had to do something. They had to cut some money somewhere, because I don't think Crash should have been there. I don't think Microsoft should have been like, nah, nigga, Crash and Spyro, that's Xbox now, nigga. We're gonna make a Smash Bros clone, and we're gonna have PlayStation most iconic characters in that hoe. Because Crash used to be a PlayStation mascot. I remember playing Crash on PlayStation. Spyro on PS1. I remember those days. And now they're owned by Microsoft Gaming. The Xbox brand. And they could just do whatever they want with Crash. They could turn this nigga into a first-person shooter. That nigga start throwing apples. You said it's heavily inspired by all the platformers over the years. Not surprised me, it's good. I mean, yeah, like they definitely did a whole lot of good work. Most of the puzzle that they had in there, all the puzzles that they were doing, most of them were already done before in other platformers. They was already done. So like when I see Astrobot, it just looks like another good platformer. It doesn't look like his own thing. It has its own world, but like platformers start to like bleed together, especially like when Banjo and shit was doing it. Then it went to what is his name? The Fox. What is the Fox called for Microsoft? Lucky Tales. They didn't like Lucky Tales. So like Lucky Tales, they all look like a version of a Mario game I already played. That's exactly what it was. And then Astro Bot comes out. It's good. Yeah. Like all those games, I think Mario and them, like the whole Mario universe has probably done every trope in freaking platforming. Mario went so crazy, he went to space. This nigga went to space, bro. This nigga went to space. He had Paper Mario. Niggas was doing everything. 2D, 3D, 4D. Mario was doing whatever. Nigga got a whole movie. A big ass movie. Box office blockbuster. I don't know, bro. They give Astro Bot too much credit, even though it was a really good game. Nobody's gonna talk down like Astro Bot wasn't a good game. It didn't sell well. Nobody bought it. But it was a damn good game by Asobi. It's just like, why y'all trying to put him on a pedestal with Mario? Like, the only nigga that should be up there with Mario is Sonic. Nigga, like, this is the only other nigga that could be up there with Mario. Is that nigga Sonic. Everybody else, they gotta wait their turn. And Astro Bot need way more than one good game for PlayStation to be like, yeah, bro, we're a top tier platformer. Like, no, you're good. But so is Psychonauts. Like, nigga, what are you on about? So is Psychonauts, nigga, and they're not up there with Mario. And they definitely sold more copies. So I don't know. I don't know. Astro Bot, critics be definitely getting these developers into places they shouldn't be. Because nobody should be upset that Asobi dropped a good platformer game. But the fact that critics, that journalists, media outlets would push the narrative that Astro Bot is at Mario level, would get a whole lot of fans combating each other. Pointing the finger at each other. Like, yeah, Astro Bot is this good. No, it's not, bro. Because now niggas gotta disagree. Like, have you played... Nigga, this is not even Mario 64 level. And that shit came out, I was like 6. Mario 64 is still better. What do you mean? There's so many ways this shit can go. And all critics gotta do is put that shit. You said Game Explain has a video like Mario can learn from Astro? Come on now, bro. What's the dislike to like ratio on that? Somebody should definitely slander that. I've never even heard of fucking Game Explain. But there's no way. They saying Mario can learn from Astro. When Astro is just doing what Mario already did. I guess with PlayStation controller tweaks, because like the dual sense is really tied into Astro Bot. The blowing on the controller, the feeling of resistance when pulling things. Like Nintendo did their own thing with like gimmick movement. Mario was literally taking niggas' bodies, possessing niggas. What the Astro Bot's not doing that, bro? He's just throwing on a fucking Bloodborne costume. Get the fuck out of it. It's crazy. How could they say some shit like that? Maybe because Mario hasn't been platforming in a while. He has Mario Sports. You got Mario Kart, nigga. Mario's throwing hands in Smash Bros. He ain't been platforming in a minute. Niggas must have forgot. Now Astro Bot has come out with a platformer. It's pretty good. Now Astro Bot is the face of platforming. Come on now, bro. Come on now. Some people just be eating, bro. They just be glazing so hard, and it's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to make this type of discourse. The same thing was put on the community about Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield. The same shit happened with Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield. Why the fuck did they keep comparing these two games? Two completely different fucking games. Made by two completely different types of development teams. But for some reason, they had to keep putting these games together. Headlines had to keep putting these games against each other. Like, oh, look, they did this better than this. Like, Bethesda can learn a lot from Larian. No, the fuck they can't. Bethesda been doing this shit for like 20 years. You said, bro, that's some good points. I mean, it depends on if those things are PlayStation centric. Because Mario is not producing cameos. Mario don't need cameos, nigga. He's Mario. Astrobot had so many niggas in that game. Nigga, Kratos was in the game. Bloodborne was in the game. They had so many cameos. I think even Infamous was in the game. There's so many cameos of like dead niggas. Crash was in the game. So many big names pulled up for Astrobot. Mario is solo in that shit. Mario is solo in that shit. In space. In New Donk City. Mario is solo in this shit. He don't need no cameos, bro. He don't need to act like somebody else. He don't need to be somebody else because he's Mario. So if Astrobot is not carrying on just Astro's name alone, I can't put him up there with Mario. Mario can't learn shit from Astrobot. Unless you're talking about like design. Maybe. Like, oh, these level designs are kind of intricate. With the way you can do Astrobot technology things. But to think, Mario hasn't had the Mario's never had a console the power of a PlayStation 5 before to make a Mario game. Think about that. Astrobot was built on PS5 hardware. Mario's platforms are built on Switches, nigga. On Switches. Imagine if they had the power that Asobi had with Astro. They could definitely do a lot more with fucking Mario. But the fact that Mario was coming off handhelds and Wii's to the Switch, come on now, bro. Come on now. You can't put Asobi on no motherfucking pedestal. They had all this power to work with. And they still only got this much of platforming out of it. So yeah, I can't. Come on now. Give Mario that tech. Give Mario developers that tech. Just think about it. Oh, fucking God. Mario developers with enough power to run a motherfucking GTA 6 is making GTA 6 in Mario. New Donk City is going to be a whole fucking open world map that's going to be 60 hours long. They're going to cook the fuck up. If they had enough power and resources to make a game usually it's one of the cleanest looking platformers out there. I mean, yeah, because like that game could be ran on an iPhone, but it's running on a PS5. It's probably going to be running on a PC. Like when Ratchet and Clank came out, it's still mostly a platform, but it was a third-person action game at that point. Ratchet and Clank looked amazing as a platformer. It looked damn good as a platformer. That shit's still not Mario level, and Mario's running on a Switch. They don't need SSD technology to get Mario to do crazy shit. PlayStation, they definitely need that SSD. So, like, I mean, they might look good, 4K. That shit might be clean as fuck, crispy as hell. You looking at blades of grass, and you're like, damn, that shit high resolution. That doesn't make the game better. Because I would still go boot up Mario 64 and cook the fuck up. Go windmill and throw Bowser off a mountain. They not touching that. They not touching that. They can just remaster Mario 64 right now. And it's gonna be a top seller. And it's gonna be the peak of platforming. Mario was climbing trees and shit. For no reason. Why do I have the ability to climb a tree? I don't know, but I climb fucking trees. I got a star out of a tree one time. On accident. That shit just good. But Astrobot is definitely a good looking game, and so we did a great job with it. But they can't be glazing that game when it didn't sell well. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can glaze it, but if it's not selling to no customers, it's a dead game. It's a dead game, bro. They just gotta make that motherfucker free, and I think it came out at $60 too, which is outrageous for Astrobot. Why the hell was it $60? That shit should have been 40. It should have been 40. It probably would have sold better. But $60, $70, you're trying to sell this like a AAA game? Crazy. PlayStation's crazy for that shit, and they felt it because nobody bought it. They definitely felt it because nobody bought it. And now with the Game of the Year talk gonna be about? Because Astrobot came out, it scored well, didn't sell well. Do that shit make game of the year when nobody fucked with the game for real? Is it allowed? But I mean, they definitely kicked Hogwarts Legacy out, and it's so better than every game that year besides Call of Duty. Actually, it did sell better than Call of Duty. You said Mario does some things better than Astro and vice versa. I mean, but Mario just does Mario. That's why it doesn't have to do things better than Astro. Like, Mario can do nothing better than Astro and still be better than Astro. Mario is the face of Nintendo. Astro has to do a lot of things better than Mario to get recognized. That is what we're talking about. We're talking about an up-and-comer versus the GOAT. Mario has to do nothing but be Mario and still be the best. Astro has to do everything in his power to be better than Mario to get recognized. So the glaze is only going to make Mario look better. Because if you have to glaze Astro that hard to say his own Mario level, Astro going to have to do so much more, bro. They have to do so much more. Because we're looking at Mario move mountains, nigga. This nigga Astro is getting niggas to blow on controllers. He get niggas to use gyros. That is what he's doing. I don't know if that's enough to have Mario mentioned in the same breath as Astrobot. I don't even think Astrobot is Sackboy level. Just think about that. I don't think Astrobot is Sackboy level. Because Sackboy had how many games? 3? Sackboy had 3 banger of a game, and I think it has some spin-offs too. Astrobot needs to beat Sackboy before he can even start thinking about Mario. And I don't know why the hell they went straight to Mario with this. How many platformer levels do they need to reach before they even can talk to Mario? Even look at Mario fucking overall buttons. So Astro has a whole lot more to prove for me to even think he's better than Sackboy. Because Sackboy had cameos too. But Little Big Planet was crazy work. Little Big Planet was crazy work. That shit was fun. Nigga, I had a 360 and we still was over at our cousin's house playing Little Big Planet. Running through that motherfucker. 4-player co-op. Cooking the fuck up. Everybody got a custom Sackboy. We all looking different. Now, the Sobe coming through, they threw Sackboy out the window because Sackboy's kind of dead. Astrobot is the new kind of mascot for PlayStation. You said Astro is king. That's just funny, bro. I don't think it can be king. It still got to be Sackboy, bro. Right now, Astrobot is the jester, my nigga. He's dancing in the court. Getting motherfuckers to laugh. Getting motherfuckers to dance a little bit, to clap their hands. But he's not standing next to the king. He's entertaining people. He's not standing next to the king. He's definitely not sitting on the throne. He's definitely not sitting on the throne. Oh yeah, the last bit of gaming news we got to talk about. Oh, yeah, I knew you was playing. I knew you wouldn't. I knew you weren't serious about that. You have a Splatoon pulling up at PlayStation's door, bro. Like, nigga, we sold 30 million in like 2 weeks. Do y'all really want to see us right now? Paint the whole PlayStation red. But yeah, we got one bit of gaming news left, and it's about Microsoft's laying off 650 employees. And this wasn't big news. And it's funny because they talk shit about Microsoft laying people off all year until PlayStation are laying people off. You said jokes aside from what you saw, it deserved a seat at the table. I mean, it's definitely good, but like, is it Psychonauts good? Maybe. I don't think it's Sackboy good, cause Sackboy got 3 games. So I'm like, I gotta put the criteria out there. Like Sackboy, he put in a whole lot of work. Sony disrespected him. Sackboy put in too much work to just be gone, and Astrobot take his place. I don't know about that. It don't sit right with me. Yeah, it's definitely a colonizer, bro. It pulled up, stole everything from Sackboy. Everything Sackboy built, it stole that shit. Because when PlayStation first introduced those gyros and those fucking controllers, guess who was doing this shit? Fucking Sackboy, nigga. Sackboy was working on that. Asobi do good work though. I'm not even gonna fake it. They do good work. They said they want to make an Xbox version of the game. They said that when they were like producing Astrobot because they're not owned by PlayStation. So it's just a second party deal. So Xbox can pay Asobi to make an Xbox version of Astrobot and drop that motherfucker with Master Chief, with Spyro, Crash, motherfucking Doom Guy, Lara Croft, all the random cameos from Xbox side, fucking Marcus Phoenix and them from Gears, and they'll put in some work and get a good ass Astrobot game for Xbox. It could definitely happen. I don't know why Xbox wouldn't do it. I know that it just ruffles some feathers on the PlayStation side because Astrobot is like becoming PlayStation's own little mascot slowly but surely. But yeah, they do have a talented ass team over there. I wish they would be able to do more, but I don't know if people was gonna. I don't know if Sony's gonna fund them to make like something outside of Astrobot. I don't think Sony is gonna be like, hey, just make Astrobot for us and we'll be good. But I really want to see Asobi's team do more things. Not just puzzle platformers. I want to see them do more with the PlayStation 5. Outside of just, having Astrobot shoot water jets and ride on PlayStation 5 consoles, like I think they could do a whole lot more with that. They could even make like a little nightmare type game. And I think that should have worked. I think their team is talented enough to make a game like that. I think they're talented enough to make a game like that. But we do need to talk about these layoffs. Because Microsoft laid off 650 more employees. And motherfuckers not talking about it. And the reason they're not talking about it is because they were corporate people. So since a lot of people, a lot of outlets were online, was like, oh, Microsoft laying off more people from the gaming division. But then when Phil Spencer memo came out, and it's the corporate side of the gaming division of Xbox, motherfuckers really wasn't upset. They're like, oh, it's just corporate niggas losing their jobs. Nobody cared. It's not developers this time. So yeah, 650 people got laid off. But since they're corporate people, nobody cared. And I'm like, y'all didn't care about the layoffs to begin with. This says Astrobot is only 10 hours long. It's only 10 hours long? What the fuck? That shit little as hell. It's almost as long as what's this called? It's Hellblade. And Hellblade is a walking simulator. 10 hours is plenty of time to be a puzzle platformer. I don't think it needs to be longer than that. Because I don't know the story behind Astrobot. I think you really just run and gun finding all these cameos. But yeah, Microsoft laid off 650 people. They didn't really give a reasoning besides them just cleaning up all the teams that they got merging together, which makes sense. Oh, Digital Foundry is cooking the fuck out of PlayStation 5 Pro still because of the 900p situation. That is kind of sad though. And everybody's saying like, bro, the PS5 Pro is definitely not going to be able to keep up. Here's what Digital Foundry is kind of like cooking the hell out of the PS5 Pro reveal because everything that PlayStation showed was bad. And I think that's the problem. PlayStation showed the console off so bad that like nobody can Nobody can really cap for it unless like you try real hard. You gotta try real hard to cap for that fucking console right now. Until they show it in a better light. I don't know. I really don't know where this is gonna end up at. But they definitely got a tall task ahead of them. They still gonna sell hellas of these bitches though. I know for a fact Sony's gonna sell so many PS5s. They're not probably gonna be to customers. They're probably gonna be to bots, but they gonna sell them bitches, and they stock is gonna rise at least for the short term, and it's gonna make PlayStation real happy. But other than that, I mean, Gaming News Weekly. That's it. That's it for this one. We ain't got no more news to talk about until some crazy shit pops off. I know. What's this called? Dragon Age has been showing a whole lot. We don't really need to talk about that because I've been making videos on that as like the news has been coming out. They show more of like new places, new areas that you go to in the game. I can't wait until they show Ravane some more because that's the only part of the game they haven't really shown us that I really want to see. Ravane, I really want to see this shit. They got the beach. They got like some broken fucking pirate ships. I want to know if Isabella ass gonna be there. She gonna be old as fuck now, but they can make her an old ass bad bitch, and that'll be fine. Niggas gonna see her, be like, damn, Isabella old ass, still looking good, kind of crazy. But other than that, that's the end of Gaming News Weekly for real. We're about to go play some games. Fucking Space Marine 1. That motherfucker is full screen only. I don't know why the hell games come out like that. There's some new games that came out this full screen only too, which is kind of dirty. You said AMD just announced FSR 4? What a bad time to announce PSSR. Yeah, what? AMD, I don't know why PlayStation even went their own like PSSR upscaling route. Like probably for PlayStation exclusive games, I can see the benefit of it because all PlayStation games can be rendered at 1080p upscaled to 4K and it just fucking works. That's what they did with the PS4 with checkerboarding. Checkerboard 4K, niggas didn't even really care that Xbox had actual 4K native and PlayStation was running checkerboard 4K. It was never real 4K. They didn't fucking care. As long as PlayStation had 4K, they didn't care if it was real or not. So the fact that they're going to do that now with PSSR, all the games are going to be fucking 1080p, upscaled to 4K, with computer AI generation technology, and now they're going to have to compete with FSR being widely available and kind of free to use on any console. Third-party developers aren't going to be using PSSR. They're going to be using FSR on console. So PSSR is going to be wasted on just first party. You said Mark Cerny still thinks he is the big brain guy. Mark Cerny works with PlayStation developers. So when PlayStation developers be like, hey bro, we have more GPU, we could be doing a lot. Because you saw all the PlayStation games that came out this year weren't using next gen technology. None of them were. They all are capable of running on the PS4. They're not using PS5 like exclusive technology. None of them are, except Spider-Man, which came out last year. But like Helldivers is a basic build game. It's not using anything exclusive for PlayStation. Freaking Final Fantasy is not using anything exclusive for PlayStation. It's still built on a Unreal Engine 4. That's a fucking last gen engine. The same with Stellar Blade. It was built on PlayStation 3 technology. So like all these developers that's working on PlayStation games aren't using next gen tech anyway. So Sony can force feed them some basic next gen features and they can make some good games out of it. It's not like those games are bad. It's just none of them are pushing games like newer games that are coming out. That are pushing all next gen tech that are working these consoles to the death. That's why when they showed freaking Hogwarts Legacy, it was still running at 30 frames per second. That's kind of crazy. When they showed freaking Alan Wake 2 running, that shit was running at 900p. You said development teams will be required to have a PSSR option instead of FSR4. And you know how many developers are going to ignore the fuck out of that requirement? The same amount that ignore the fuck out of all the tech in the Xbox Series S. All those that ignore all the tech in the Series S, they're going to ignore all the tech in the PS5 Pro. Because they're like, oh yeah, why would we have to be forced to use PSSR? Is it going to be free for all developers? If it's going to be free, I mean, I guess they use it. Especially if it can run a little bit better than FSR does. If it runs better than FSR does. Because if it doesn't, why would they give a degraded product to the PlayStation over the Xbox when the Xbox has a less likely player base? PlayStation has all the players, technically, based on just random numbers that Sony pulls up. So developers work harder on the PlayStation version of the game all the time. So when Black Myth Wukong comes out and it runs at fucking 12 FPS after the second act, PlayStation need to figure something out. And if a GPU boost is all they give, is that really going to fix all the problems for Black Myth Wukong? Is it going to fix all the problems for Alan Wake 2, really? When it's running at 900p now? Is it really going to fix all the problems for Space Marine when that motherfucker runs like absolute garbage? When it's running perfect on an Xbox? We don't really know. We have to wait until the console comes out. Because these things aren't adding up. They aren't adding up. Not really. Because the 9 teraflop PlayStation 5 is supposed to be able to stand against the 12 teraflop Xbox Series X. And it has for a while. Why? Because none of these developers were using next-gen tech. And now they're using more and more next-gen tech. And these games are getting more and more fucking destroyed on the PlayStation side. They're starting to look rough. They're starting to run like shit. And it's like, damn, the PS5 missed out on a lot of next-gen tech. So now Mark Cerny's trying to inject some of that into the PS5 Pro. Just a little bit of it. The price is still outrageous. They removed the disc drive. But they're trying to inject some of the next-gen tech into PlayStation's console because they threw all of it away when they first launched the PS5. And Xbox was like, yeah, bro, we just waited. We got mesh shaders. We got a whole lot of other things on the die cast. And developers like, yeah, bro, we don't want to use all that shit. Kind of too hard to work into these engines. I don't know what the PS5 Pro is actually going to be capable of. But if they're going to force developers to use PSSR, they better hope it runs better than FSR does. They better hope and pray that AMD FSR4 doesn't perform better. Because then they're going to be having a degraded product compared to the Xbox version. Because you can just slap FSR4 on there and it's going to perform. And these developers are going to use upscaling technology. It's not like they're going to use raw power, raw freaking pixels. They never do nowadays because the DLSS is running so well. FSR is producing. Not producing as good as, DLSS, but it's definitely producing. And now PlayStation has PSSR, bro. Fucking weird ass acronym. Weird ass acronym. PSSR, bro. Pisser. That shit is pisser, bro. PlayStation, why did you do this to yourself? But yeah, we got the In Gaming News Weekly right here. I'm about to go play some games. Might even play fucking Space Marine 1. I don't know if I can create content on it because that motherfucker's full screen only. And I kind of need to turn that motherfucker to Windows mode. But if not, I mean, it's fine. I'll go play it and see what it's like. See that nigga Titus in full form in the first game. Maybe get to the second one. Got plenty of content coming along. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hey, it's been Gaming News Weekly Live. I'm gonna go get some food too, nigga. I definitely need to go get some food. And hey, I'll see y'all in the next one.